Hello, everybody. I'm so excited to introduce you to Meli De Los Santos. She is the Dreaming Yogi. You can find her on Instagram, Facebook, and her website at The Dreaming Yogi. And she is a dream interpreter, holistic healer, and yogi, obviously, who helps overwhelmed, sleep deprived individuals find the root cause of their stresses and balance their waking life through dream work. And she's the biggest sweetheart as well. I just want to throw that out there. She's so, you just exude like love and like compassion and all the good feelings. And so that's awesome. But I'm so glad to have you here. Welcome.
I'm so happy to be here. Thank you.
Yay. So I know you do a lot. You know, you're a holistic healer. We are on the same doTERRA Blossoms United team with all the crystal healing and all that good stuff. But what really makes you kind of stand out is your dream interpretation work, which I think is so freaking cool and something that like not everybody does. So it's really special. I guess before we get too much into the dream interpretation, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of what got you, deciding that you wanted to do dream interpretation and holistic healing and yoga? What got you here?
What got me here? Well, thank you for having me here, first of all. I'm actually an electrical engineer with a specialty in computers.
Oh, wow.
So I was working for 7 years over in Phoenix and started developing an anxiety disorder. I had panic attacks and became agoraphobic. And during that time, I was having these dreams that were just constant, the reoccurring dreams about being in a house with the previous owner's stuff in there that made me feel really anxious in the dream. And that's when I started looking it up. I had this big aha moment when that dream revealed that I was letting the negative baggage of other people weigh me down because I was a perfectionist, people pleaser, took guilt that weren't my own, and then I became obsessed. The dream itself started changing until the dream reflected a empty house that I loved and a narrow door that meant I was going to be more selective with who I let in my life. So
wow, that's awesome. I can see why you became obsessed with that. That's amazing. I love that. So I guess what is dream interpretation? Because I think we all kind of know like the stereotypical movie dream interpretation stuff, but there's a lot more to it clearly than just
And I'm glad you mentioned like stereotypical, because growing up, I always heard the superstitious behind if you dream your teeth are falling out, someone might die near you. I don't know if I'm the only one that heard that growing up, but
I always heard that you were going to get money.
Okay, something like that. So I grew up with that superstitious, and I was always into like just dreams. Like I would call myself dreamer here and there, but never really understood dream interpretation. And it's actually a way of understanding your subconscious mind. So during the day, our subconscious mind is suppressed. We're always thinking with our conscious mind. It takes over. If we feel a certain way, we start rationalizing and saying, no, that person didn't mean to hurt me. Or, we just start coming up with logical ideas. So when we sleep, our mind is very rested and our conscious mind goes out the door and our subconscious mind just shines with all these symbols. And so what dream interpretation actually means is getting those symbols and analyzing them to see what the true meaning behind it is, usually from a past trauma or a current situation that's really dwelling on you. So that is what dream interpretation is.
Nice. I like that. So have you found that, your dreams change over time? Like you said, if you are then aware of a situation, kind of what happened with you with the house dream. I mean, is that pretty common for dreams to kind of like change and transition like that? Or is it more common for them to just stop? Like once you have the realization, like you just don't have that dream anymore?
Well, you can have mine gradually change. And I have noticed with my clients that their dreams start changing. They start problem solving in their dream. And what a dream that used to be very scary or overwhelming, you can have the same theme and now you have a problem solving mindset behind it until it goes away. And it may come back if you go through that situation again, but it won't be as overwhelming because you already know why you had it.
Yeah, I love that. So I think it kind of is self-explanatory to me a little bit, but like why dream interpretation is so important. Because you touched on, you know, in our waking lives, we kind of shut out what's going on in the subconscious, but none of that really goes away. So why do you think it is so important to really dive into our dreams and interpret them?
Because our emotions hold so much power over us. People that study the chakras or just kind of do this healing type of work, or just anybody in general, when you suppress an emotion so long, it manifests itself physically.
Mm.
So I personally thought I was physically ill when I was going through anxieties, and all the doctors said, no, you're perfectly fine. So they manifest themselves in our waking life physically, and we can be running around not knowing what's going on or just feeling like you're in a rut. Our emotions just really overpower us completely, and just having that awareness, we can grow from it and find these holistic tools or whatever other tools that we have in our hands. So one of my favorite quotes from the Talmud is, if I'm saying that right, is dream, I forgot the actual quote.
I do that all the time. I'm like, oh, you know the quote I'm talking
It'll come to me after this.
I do that all the time.
So yeah, that's why I think it's very important. It's like we have this very powerful tool that can open us up to what we really want. Like, it's not only, for me, I've expanded from dream interpretation to actually finding the path that I want to take. If you have those situations where there's two paths you can take and you're not sure, your dreams can show you which one you really want. So it's just a very powerful tool that we have every night. We can take full advantage of those 7 to 8 hours and really, really grow in personal development, things like that. So I find it, you can do so much with your dreams.
So how would one do that? Because I mean, I've heard of lucid dreaming, which is what, just kind of like you're aware that you're dreaming, so you can manipulate the dream. Is that what that is?
Yes. So even if for lucid dreaming, even if you fall asleep and there's a period of time when you're like, I'm dreaming, usually you'll get super excited and then it's like, oh, it goes away. But just that is lucid dreaming, being aware you're dreaming. And the real cool thing about that is you can manipulate your dream. And in the dream healing that I am working on, and the theory that I have behind lucid dreaming is that we can face certain fears and develop that confidence in our dreams to apply them to real life.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, going through phobias, you can face them in your dream, knowing that you're safe, and then wake up and feel full confidence in going through it.
Ooh, that could be super powerful for people.
Yeah.
That's really exciting. So that's something you're currently working on with people?
Yes, that's a personal thing that I'm working on right now. Yeah.
Ooh, I like that. So would the lucid dreaming be kind of, you said that you can have dreams where if you're trying to make a decision, you can have a dream to help you figure out that decision. So how is that, like a form of lucid dreaming, or how would that work?
That one is more, I would consider that just dream interpretation on its own. There are so many different types of dreams, and that's one of the types of dream. It's actually called dress rehearsal, where if you're thinking of that issue, and there's some tools that you can use to bring a dream forward, but if you're pressured enough on that, and usually it'll come in your dream, you'll see either you take the path that you don't really like, and in the dream you'll be like, oh, this didn't feel right, and you'll wake up knowing what to do, or the other way, you'll take the dream that felt good. In some cases I've had, and some of my clients have had dreams where you are literally going in two paths and you see which one feels better.
So are dreams kind of literal like that, or is it more like kind of mysterious symbols that you have to be like, what does that, that red owl that I saw, what does that mean? Or is it more literal, like two paths?
No, it's definitely full of symbols. You can be dreaming of one person and it has to do with someone completely different. So they're full of symbols. Okay.
So do you find then that the symbols and kind of the meanings of dreams are the same no matter the person? Or, like if I dream about, I just said an owl. So if I dream about an owl, would that have kind of a different meaning for me versus somebody else dreaming about an owl, or is it just kind of an overall same theme no matter who it is?
It's unique to every person. So there are some basic universal symbols, like, you know, the characteristics of the owl, but then we add on to what your unique symbol means to you. So you add in that personal twist to it.
Okay. So
it's your mind, yeah.
So if somebody had a traumatic experience with an owl in childhood, that would obviously be a little bit of a different meaning than somebody who like loves owls and watches them in the woods every day. Okay, that makes sense. So you got to take people's personal things into effect.
Yeah.
I like that. So what do you say for people, because some people are like, I don't dream. And I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure I've heard that like everybody dreams, but you just don't remember it. So how could somebody, like if they're one of those that just really has a hard time either remembering their dreams, they remember bits and pieces, or the people that wake up and they're like, no, I don't dream. Like what tips do you have for them?
Yes, so there's a whole bunch of tools and more advanced work that you can do to remember your dreams. But one of the simplest things would be keeping the dream journal. But even if you don't remember your dream, you still write no dream to record or no dream remembered. And any spark of memory, even if it's just a chair that was knocked over, you write that down. What that does is it creates, kind of rewires your brain into knowing that it's a step you do before waking up. And it'll start retaining that information and it'll start coming out. Within, it might take about 2 weeks, a little bit longer. I like seeing it as your dreams are like your subconscious is a friend trying to talk to you. And if you've ignored this friend for 10 plus years, 20 plus years, it may take a little convincing to let them know that you care now.
Yeah. That's so funny. So is there a difference between like really vivid dreams and then just kind of the dreams where you're just like, oh, that was a dream? I don't know if that made any sense. I just worded that. No, well, because some dreams are like super vivid and they seem like you didn't even sleep that night because it was so realistic and vivid. And then you just have the dreams where it's kind of like a normal dream.
Yeah, I mean, like I mentioned, there's so many different types of dreams. So you start becoming aware of what a normal dream is like for you, and that can help you determine if it's what type of dream you're having, if it's more vivid, or maybe you're using more crystals. Like clear quartz will help bring more vividness to your dream. And just some may be more powerful to try to get the point across. So.
Okay. I was going to ask that. So do the different types of dreams have different meanings in themselves? You know, like yes. A more vivid dream has more meaning than like a not so vivid dream.
Yeah, it could. And like, for example, if you're starting to dream like just without color, just kind of black and white, you might be missing some color in your life. So that in itself, like there's a mesh of symbols plus the types of dreams. There's like so much into it.
That's neat. So do you find more people dream in color or black and white? I know I personally dream in color all the time.
I've had both. I always ask like, what are the colors that pop out? But I've gotten a little bit of both.
So obviously that means something too. You said the black and white, you may need more color. I like that. So some of the symbols, it sounds like, are kind of, you know, I don't want to say obvious, but kind of, you know, where you can kind of look at it like that, like a black and white dream, you need more color in your life, or, you know, a more vivid dream means more, pay attention more.
Yeah. So yeah, some of it can be like that. They can get a little convoluted though.
Yeah, I'm sure. There's so many layers to it, just like in our dreams, there's so many layers to it.
Yeah.
So what are I mean, if there's like a million, you don't have to go into them, but what are some of the different types of dreams that there are?
Different types? Yeah, there are a whole bunch of them, but for example, some people have prophetic dreams where they have a dream and then a couple of weeks later it happens, or a couple months later. There's a recurring dream, which is the most common one, which you're going to keep having until you become aware of what the problem is. And that actually reminded me of the quote. The quote that I was thinking is, a dream not interpreted is like a letter not opened. So that one just like I was obsessed with that one.
Yeah, that's a really good way to, like, a really good analogy for it.
Yeah, and like layer dreams, like you mentioned layers. It's when we have a lot of dreams. When we wake up, sometimes you remember bits and pieces of them. So when you wake up and then shortly after you realize that's still a dream and you wake up again, you're just kind of peeling the layers of your dream world to come out of the state. So
that's neat. So what does that mean when you are like, you're dreaming and then you wake up in your dream to only find out you're still dreaming, like a dream inside of a dream?
Inception. That's basically just the layering of it. It's not really a meaning. You're just waking up at a different level. Not really a big meaning behind it.
Yeah. Okay. So let me see. So what does it mean too? Like, at least I don't know if this is common for other people. This is common, really common for me. Dreaming of like the same places, like basically the same settings. I feel like I have like the same 5 settings that I kind of cycle through, and then every now and then there will be some really random weird setting. Like, does that have any particular meaning to like be dreaming the same thing?
The same thing. The same place. I mean, if it's like a reoccurring theme or something, then that is a reoccurring dream where you have to analyze why you're dreaming of that place. But what you mentioned just reminded me, a past life dream, when we dream of a same place but maybe a different time era and it feels really real, then you might be having like a glimpse of it. But you would usually look different. So if you look like yourself, or you're Cherise Williams, then you would just need to add the different symbols behind who's there, what you're doing, how you feel, the colors, everything else.
That's so neat. So I guess really to be able to start to get to know your own dreams and which ones are different types, you need to just start working with your dreams, obviously. And
basically.
Down, and then you'll kind of learn how different dreams feel different and be able to figure out, oh, this was a past life dream, or
you'll just
be dealing with today.
Yeah. And what I like to think is, as you write down your dream journals, I like to look back at them. They're kind of like puzzle pieces to a much bigger, puzzle of yourself, basically. Yeah.
I like that. So what are the most common themes that people dream about? Just rattle off like the top 5 most common themes.
Top 5, water dreams, having some type of water in there, falling, teeth, being chased, and school dreams. Actually, there's a lot of school dreams.
I've had those where I'm back in high school and I'm like, what am I doing here?
No.
And I always get lost in my high school building too. And I'm like, I know this school. I went here for 4 years. Why am I lost right now? Now you're probably sitting there analyzing that, aren't you?
I know a lot about you now.
So if you can touch on those, what do those dreams mean? So like, what does a water dream typically represent?
So water just typically represents and symbolizes our emotions. So depending the degree of water, if you are swimming and the waves are, drowning you, then you may be drowning in your emotions, or something is very overwhelming for you. So kind of literal in that sense, but still symbolic. But
that's the word I was thinking of. When I was like, I don't want to use the word obvious, literal.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry to interrupt you.
That's okay.
I do. All right. So waves, feeling like you're drowning. Go.
Yeah. So just the degree of water. If it's a lot of it and you're just drowning over it, then you may be overwhelmed with these emotions. If it's just a puddle and you get splashed, then it's something that's bugging you, but not a big deal. Things like that. The school dreams is a life lesson that you're learning. The degree in what school you're in. So elementary would be something basic that you're learning, up until university, which would be a higher learning. What else did I say? Falling dreams. Falling is actually a type of dream, and there is a scientific reasoning behind that, but I am more symbolic and spiritual, so I'll go into that one. That one's more, they say that it's when you're about to go into a nightmare or something, and we have these dream guides that protect us at night, and they're kind of bringing you out of that lower vibration. So I like that a little bit better than the mind just thinking you're in danger and knocking you over, which would be the scientific
Wow.
thought. And what else did I mention? Teeth. Teeth would be associated with your voice, speaking your truth, but also some kind of nourishment, because that's what we use to eat our food. Type of anxiety as well. So it depends what's going on with your teeth.
So what does it mean, like when they're like just falling out of your mouth?
You may feel like you're out of control, or like the words are just coming out.
I've had that drink quite a lot. They're like crumbling and like I'm trying to catch my teeth. I'm like, what?
I recently had that, and it was like I woke up and I'm like, oh, my teeth are here.
It's the scare. Like those are some of the scariest dreams ever, or like the most disturbing that stay with you like all day long. Like I've had some pretty messed up dreams, and it's always the one where my teeth are falling out that I'm like, oh, like all day long. That's the worst. And then you said chasing. So what are like dreams where you're feeling chased?
Yeah, chasing. Well, you need to see who's chasing you and if you got away. But it is a type of something in your life that you're trying to run away from, either just running away from a responsibility or running away from something, a commitment or something. It just really depends who's chasing you. So if you can see, all of this really depends on people. Yeah. And something that I want to bring across, like dream dictionaries or like just looking things up, those are, they could be good for a reference, but they're always going to be biased to the author. So that's why when you have like an interpretation, like me, I basically guide people to getting their aha moment instead of just putting my own beliefs into their interpretation.
Yeah, I like that. So it's really like helping people to see the different layers and different symbols in their dreams, and then kind of letting them figure it out. So like a chasing dream, it would be important to pay attention to like where are you being chased and who's chasing you, and okay.
Yeah. So I ask a lot of questions.
I have that one a lot too. Those are the words.
After this. We'll have to talk after this.
Oh, no. Oh gosh. I have those a lot. Yeah, I'm being chased in my dreams all the time, and I'm like trying to hide. I'm like ducking behind stuff because the car or the people are coming down the street, and like it's a mess. And I'm always in one of my grandparents' neighborhoods from when I was growing up. And I'm like, what is this?
Childhood. Like a childhood.
Yeah, but I'm always an adult, and I'm like, what the hell's going on? It's so weird. They're so realistic too.
Yeah.
So what are ways, you've mentioned some tools, like you mentioned clear quartz and stuff. What are some things that people can incorporate into their, bedtime routine or have next to their bed or something to bring on, better dreams or remembering their dreams?
Better dreams. So I use a lot of essential oils, as you know. There's actually some essential oils that can bring certain dreams up, like frankincense is very spiritual, but I would usually just recommend starting with lavender, and lavender and patchouli is my favorite now that I use to fall asleep and sleep throughout the night. And a lot of people come to me basically because they can't sleep. So when you hear dream interpretation, it's like, oh, I don't dream. I don't need that. So it's first getting them to sleep and then remember their dreams. So lavender, once you have a restful night's sleep, because interrupted sleep can really affect your dream recall. Also being very stressed, or if you're doing this type of work and each morning you're like, there's a dream I remembered. Oh my God. Like it's in the tip of my tongue. And that stress and pressure, like our subconscious is all emotion and stuff. It'll just make it run away.
Oh no.
So not stressing over it, just knowing that the dream you need will come. It'll come to mind if it's something that you need, because sometimes all we need is a good night's rest. So not putting too much pressure on it. And basically I would focus mainly on having that restful sleep and having like a sleep routine at night. I think it's very important to have a clear boundary between all your daytime and your stress and routine, and then having that time allotted to ease into dream time. And then when you wake up, not just rush out the door and like, oh my God, I'm running late, having that transition too. So that transition will help as well.
Okay. So do you suggest, you said keeping a dream journal. What if you do wake up in the middle of the night and you remember your dream in the middle of the night? Is it better to just go back to bed and then write in your journal when you wake up in the morning? Or is it good to like wake up in the middle of the night, oh my gosh, I remember this dream, and like hurry up and write it down in your journal?
Yeah, well, it depends if you want to remember, because more than likely when you go back to sleep, you're not going to remember if you wake in the morning. So either jotting it down, like it doesn't have to be, I kind of write it out elaborately like a story time, but at the beginning, whatever you remember, it'll trigger you in the morning. So if it was just like water flooding, just write that down real quick. And it's easier to remember that than just hoping you'll remember when you wake up. But if you're like falling asleep and you don't want to deal with it, then go back to sleep.
And then, okay, so you mentioned a couple essential oils to use, and then what crystals? I assume there's crystals that can help bring about different types of dreams and stuff as well.
Yeah, there is. My favorite is lepidolite for dream recall. And that's actually the one I was using right now. So you would program it to remember your dreams. Mm-hmm. And in the morning, you place it on your third eye and you leave it there without any pressure. For me, most of the time, like at least five dreams come out. You might have to work with it a little bit more, but yeah, you can place it under, made it run away. You can place it under your pillow. I have a little dream grid right now that I'm working with, and I just had it there, but I used it to remember my dreams this morning.
Okay, I like that. So you remembered 5 dreams? So
not last night. Not last night. Last night there was a couple of them, like 3. But the first time I actually used this, I did remember 5 dreams pretty elaborately, and that was really hard for me at first, because usually the last dream is what we remember, and bits and pieces of the previous ones. We sleep kind of in cycles, and we have these dreams in cycles. And it's really hard to remember the very, very first dream you had. So lepidolite I love this stone.
I love that crystal. I've never used it for sleeping or dreams, and now I'm going to have to.
Yeah.
I have it in pretty much every room in my house, but I don't have it. No, I do have it in my bedroom, but it's like way not next to my bed.
Yeah, and as long as whatever you put under your pillow, because the things that you put under your pillow have direct contact with your head, your third eye. Your third eye is really, I would consider it your center of dreams, because if you have nightmares or if you have trouble with your dreams, then it would show an imbalance in that intuition center. For those that know about the chakras, I know you do. So I really like that chakra. So that's why the purple stones are really good for dreams.
Okay. And so like amethyst as well would be a good one.
Yeah, amethyst.
Okay.
I use that more for sweet dreams. If you're having a lot of nightmares, I actually add them to my selenite, and I call it a dream wand. So that would be another one I use it to cleanse my aura before bed.
Okay. That's a good idea to do. So you're not bringing all the extra crap with you into the bed, into the dreams. So if you do have, multiple dreams in a night and you remember them, should you be focusing on, so say you remember your 3 dreams, should you be focusing on and trying to interpret all 3 dreams, or is there one of them that is more important to pay attention to than the others?
I think they're all important. I write all I remember, I write it down. And then as I look over it again, I like to, in my journal, write down what I did the night before, write down what I did the day in the morning, just because I like to try different things, different crystals. But they're all important. Once you write them down, you'll know which one kind of impacted you more, just that emotional side, and which one just seemed like it had more importance.
Okay.
So, for example, last night I had a couple of dreams. Some ex-coworkers showed up, and just different scenarios just kind of meshed in one. But what stood out was opening the mailbox and having a bunch of keys, like just keys everywhere in the mailbox. So that stood out to me, and that was a symbol of opportunity. You're unlocking something.
Nice. I like that. Sounds like you got a lot of opportunities. I totally had a question I was going to ask. I always do this in interviews. I'm like listening so much to the person that then I forget to like write down notes of questions because I'm like so listening. What the heck was I going to say? I have no idea what I was going to say. So I'll just move on to another question I had.
I'll come to you.
About nightmares, because you mentioned nightmares earlier. So is it like, should people be concerned when they have nightmares, or is there like a quote unquote normal or average amount of nightmares that a person has? Like, is there a point that they should be like, okay, this is something's going on because every night I'm having nightmares?
Well, nightmares, there's actually a lot to it. Every dream is some kind of potential for healing. You know, you'll only have these dreams for healing to unlock something that you need. That's where the dream guides come in. They'll only give you what you can handle. But nightmares, they can come from, I mean, if you're going to sleep to Freddy Krueger each night, you know, you're lowering your vibration. If you have war pictures around your room, so all of these things, or if you're just kind of feeling down and just vibration, nightmares come when you're at a lower vibration, so feeling really anxious, really sad, down. So raising your vibration would help. I don't think it would be of concern, but I have heard of some medication that can bring nightmares or kind of impair dream recall. So those are things to consider. I would work on uplifting your moods as well to not get these dreams all the time. But I wouldn't consider it of concern, just analyzing that dream. And if it's a reoccurring nightmare, then there's something to unlock there.
Yeah, definitely. Alrighty. What else was I gonna say? Oh, kids. I wanted to mention kids. So obviously, I mean, they're working through their own little subconscious things as well.
Yeah.
So is it a good idea to get your kids started on their own dream journals as, you know, children?
Yeah, I feel that kids are so much more open to, and I personally don't have kids, but I do have a little sister. She's 14 now, but kids are a lot more open to the dream world, to these portals, to different types of dreams, to even to past life dreams. They're so much more open. And as they grow up and as, you know, society kind of, you know, fills our minds a bit with like, oh, that's just a dream, or that's not important, or that's silly, then it kind of gets trumped, and that's when we start not remembering or not caring, and just kind of that childlike illusion goes away. But I think it's very important to have them remember their dreams. Even just talking about it over breakfast in the morning, it really connects people as well. And at least with me and my sister, she'll wake me up and tell me her dreams. But I feel like you can connect and really inspire them to continue the dream work, because it'll be so much more easier for them. And I think we'll learn, like I even learn a lot more from my little sister, because she's still so open about it, especially now that I'm working with this. She's been more open to it. So I don't think she's gotten, you know, if she was close to forgetting and not caring much about it, she was brought back to it, because this is what I talk about all day.
I like that. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get my kids to do a little dream journal now.
And it brings up their creativity too. So
yeah,
they
definitely.
can be very creative in dreams, and it sparks up so much.
What would you do for a kid that is having nightmares?
For a kid that's having nightmares,
Mm-hmm.
I would do some type of visualization, and you can actually crystal grid your bed. Mm-hmm. And put like, if they're having nightmares, like black tourmaline or smoky quartz on the corners of their bed, to kind of create that grid with the intention. To having sweet dreams, the amethyst would be good for sweet dreams. And this is actually something my sister did. She this is the one I'm talking about. She was having a lot of nightmares, and so I just put amethyst on the selenite, and she was cleansing herself, and she had an amethyst under her bed, under her pillow. She said that the week she was having a lot of nightmares, and that week she didn't every time she used it, but the one day she forgot because she slept in another room, she had the nightmare again. So wow. To me, that's her own testimonial. That's what I would do. But kids also have a very vivid imagination. So adding visualizations and adding like a protective shield where they can be part of it, and they can be like, okay, let's shield ourselves, and no nightmares can enter, or visualizing that they have a door, and whatever they want the key to, locking that door to the nightmares, you know, have them bring them into the fun, and let them know only you have the key to this portal, and this is not the door we want to go into. So creating some kind of sleep routine that makes it fun for them, and gives them that control.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. They can also use like some type of spray. Like I've done lavender spray with essential oils, and then having them spray the bad guys or whatever to create that shield, and adding all these elements to end their imagination.
Yeah. I like that a lot. So fun. I love dreams. They're so interesting.
Right?
You've mentioned sleep routine a couple of times. So, like, how important is having a sleep routine and having, you know, a comfortable space that you sleep in? Like, how important is that?
It's very important because if you think of it, when you go to bed, your room and that space is the last thing you see. So that'll set kind of the tone of your dreams. If you sleep better, or if you are having interrupted sleep, that can help. But also when you wake up, it's the first thing you see. So if you have a pile of clothes in one corner and some boxes and receipts, and especially a calendar in front of you, which I used to do back in the day, a calendar of bills and tasks and appointments, that's already setting your mind. Even if you think like, oh, I won't look at that or bother, it's still in the back of your mind. And our rooms should be, and back in the day, they would call it dream chambers. And that's just a fancy way of calling it a room. But it should be our sacred space where we relax and rest, not have work or studying, things like that. So just creating that environment will really help.
Yeah. So basically an environment of like getting your brain like, oh, this is where we sleep. This is where we dream.
This is where we shut down.
Yeah. All right. And then like how soon before somebody is wanting to go to bed should they start their sleep routine? You know, should they start like winding down to get their mind into that sleepy, dreamy state? Whoops.
Well, ideally, we should be unwinding 2 hours before bed, just in an ideal perfect scenario. Yeah, well, basically not rushing around running errands, but that seems pretty unrealistic for myself as well, and people that I work with. I suggest at least 30 minutes. Anything is better than just closing your laptop and going to bed. It's not realistic.
I'm so guilty of that sometimes.
Yeah.
A lot of times.
But at least 30 minutes of shutting down, not using the computer as much because the light does affect you. Just giving yourself that space. 15 minutes is okay, but at least giving yourself some time to not be running around, doing either activities that are either physically exhausting or mentally exhausting. So if you're like calculating, punching numbers, that's still really, really exhausting for the mind.
Yeah, definitely. Alrighty. Well, I think that was all my questions. I mean, I could talk about dreams all day long. So how can people work with you if they have dreams and they want to work with you? And
yeah, well, I have a store envy of thedreamingyogi.storeenvy.com. And I have one-on-one dream interpretations available, but I also have an 8-week dream healing program where I teach people how to sleep throughout the night, how to remember their dreams. Those are the first things we cover, all the tools I have, and then the symbols and how to interpret their own dreams, because we're our own best guide. And so in that program, I also talk about what to do after you have the dream. How do you heal from it? So that in those programs, some of the ladies that haven't remembered dreams in 20, 30 years have just been telling me now that they're starting to remember their dreams.
I love it.
It fills my heart. Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. And I love too that in your program, it's not just, okay, you've interpreted your dream, because it's almost like that's one step to it. Like, all right, I've interpreted it, but now what? I love that you have that included in the program as well, giving them like actual steps to take to. Yeah.
So like with, that's why I call it the dream healing program, because we're healing using our dreams. And I'm also part of a yoga goddess academy. And there I teach every week a different spiritual practice. I use dream work as well as stress management, and the other ladies also talk about different holistic tools. So it would be a way of, once you interpret your dreams and complete the program, then you can move on and just use all these tools, because learn all these practices, because not everything is going to work for somebody. Somebody that likes to run as a way of coping with stress might not be the same as somebody else that prefers a relaxing yoga. So in that academy, there's a lot of different tools that we learn, and we all teach differently. All the goddess leaders, there's 9 of us. We all rotate and talk about different things. And then in my program, you would interpret your dreams and and know what you can do to heal from it and have a more balanced waking life, like I say.
Yeah, I love that. And what was that called? The Yoga Goddess?
We have a Facebook group called the Yoga Goddess Collective, but the tools we use in our membership, and it's called the Yoga Goddess Academy.
Okay, perfect. And then the Dreaming Yogi is your Instagram, Facebook, and website. It's thedreamingyogi.org.
Yes, that's my website, and you can find all of these pages on there.
Okay, perfect. I love it. Do you have anything else before we close out of here that you wanted to touch on or share or anything?
No, just that. I'm really happy that I got to talk to you and share, because I'm really passionate about this. I feel that once you just start talking about dream work, or just people that have seen my lives or people that see this podcast, even if you feel like you don't remember, and even if you're like, I'm not going to write it down, just by hearing this in the back of your mind, you'll start remembering.
I love it. You're already taking steps to remember.
Yep. just by watching this.
That's awesome. I love it. All right. Well, I guess that is all I have. Thank you so much. This was amazing and wonderful, and I love it. You guys reach out to Meli and enroll in this dream program. I'm going to look into it as soon as I get off of here. It sounds amazing. And yeah, I will talk to all of you guys later. Thank you so much, Meli, for joining us and sharing your beautiful light and wisdom.
Thank you.
I'll talk to all of you guys later. Bye-bye.
Bye.